So I think we are heading towards a spin-off for Unit for Doctor Who. This is why, and why it's a very good idea. Now, the idea of some form of Unit spin-off has always been suggested, and I think even ideas for RTD2 spin-offs, it's always been there or thereabouts. But what now makes it much more likely is the announcement that Jemma Redgrave is returning as Kate Stewart in Series 14. On a side note, I'm just so happy about that. Even if this isn't a big thing, the Unit spin-off, I am just generally happy to see this great character return. I think she's class. But what a lot of people missed in that announcement was that it was announced that Kate Stewart is coming back, but also Unit. Now obviously we don't know exactly how this is going to go, because Unit was kind of disbanded and then does kind of exist within the Chibnall era, which is odd to say the least, but it's clear that it's back. And we also know that Unit is somewhat involved in the 60th anniversary specials, and likely Jemma Redgrave herself as well, even though that part hasn't officially been announced. So Russel is definitely keen to have Unit be a part of the show going forward, which I think is a great choice. They're a fantastic addition to the classic era. I have a lot of nostalgia for like John Pertwee and a lot of the Unit bits. In the early stage of the modern era, there were also some interesting bits done with them, even though not tons. I feel like more could be done with Unit, which is where the spin-off comes in. Now, one of the big reasons why this works is I think it fits into how RTD likes to build his Doctor Who universe. Now, I'm genuinely not saying he won't be doing something different this time round, but RTD does have a track record. You introduce a character, give them a spin-off, and then them and side characters appear in the main show. What does that remind you of? Torchwood. And Sarah Jane Adventures. Obviously, Kate Stewart is a character that's already been introduced, and Sarah Jane is obviously a character that was introduced before the Sarah Jane Adventures, but you catch my drift. And I think it's the better way to do spin-offs. For example, Class kind of had that disconnect, where obviously Peter Capaldi appears in the first episode, but apart from that, there's no connection to real Doctor Who. However, with Torchwood and Sarah Jane, they felt like more natural spin-offs due to the fact that some of the characters had appeared in the show. And then it also meant those characters could be folded back into the show as and when. And this formula would work very, very well with the Unit spin-off. As obviously Kate Stewart would be the character that pops in between Doctor Who and this Unit spin-off, and then would lead her own Unit spin-off. And then you'd get all these side cast of characters that you grow to hopefully love. Now, I think this makes sense for multiple reasons. I think Kate Stewart is a very well-loved character, and I think giving her the chance to fully step into the spotlight will go down well with a lot of fans. And let's face it, Jemma Redgrave isn't, filled to the brim with work, so I'm sure she'd happily take on a bigger role within the Whoniverse for a few years. Like I've said as well, Unit is just there for the exploring. We never have really just gotten fully enough depth into it, especially within the modern era. And it's also one that's very easy to play with in tone. For example, if we're going by RTD's track record, he likes a darker spin-off, such as Torchwood, and then a lighter spin-off involving Sarah Jane. And while I think it would make more sense for the Unit spin-off to be the slightly darker spin-off, I think Unit is a concept that could work either way and fill that void. Or if RTD's looking to have shows along a similar tone, I think a Unit show could have a very similar tone to Doctor Who. I also think this could be a perfect opportunity for more characters. Obviously, Kate Stewart is involved in the companion circle at the end of Power of the Doctor, so if any of those characters want to carry over to this show, that'd be great. Like, you can kind of see, for example, Yaz becoming a member of Unit and being slightly involved in that show, and eventually we get reunited with the Doctor, maybe. There's some cool plot lines there. And then maybe there's opportunities for children of, classic era companions to be a part of Unit. Maybe Osgood gets involved. I think there are many ways you could go and many other cool and interesting characters you could bring in. Also, a spin-off show has to be able to do something different than Doctor Who. Obviously, with Unit, you get more of a military-style approach, and then you get, the scientific elements as well, but it can't be, all of the Doctors no guns thing, because then, like Torchwood did for the RTD1 era, you get something a bit different, something a bit new. So, what are your thoughts on this? Would you like to see a Kate Stewart-led Unit spin-off show? Would Kate Stewart not be involved and you'd just rather see a Unit spin-off show? Would you rather see a Kate Stewart spin-off show away from Unit? Even though that wouldn't happen. Or subscribe, because you care about Doctor Who spin-offs. We're not just a Doctor Who spin-off channel. I don't know why I sold it as such. And if you want to see my ideas for Doctor Who spin-offs for RTD2, you can click the video here, because I come up with tons of fantastic ideas that definitely haven't been mentioned by other people before, but I expand on them with my commentary.